I've never told anyone this story before. Not because I don't want to, but because no one would believe me, and honestly, I wish I didn't believe it either. It all started last fall when my cousin Jacob invited me to spend a weekend at his cabin deep in the forests of northern Utah. Jacob's cabin wasn't the kind of cozy wooden retreat you see in magazines. It was old, weather-worn, and surrounded by endless trees that swallowed the sky. Even during the day, the woods felt wrong, silent in a way that pressed on your ears, as if the forest itself were holding its breath. The first night was calm enough. We sat by the fireplace, drank cheap beer, and laughed about childhood memories. But sometime past midnight, I woke to the sound of something scratching at the cabin wall. It wasn't the random scuttle of an animal. This was deliberate, slow, purposeful. Scratch, scratch, scratch. I held my breath and listened, heart pounding. Jacob snored softly in the other room. I almost woke him up, but then the sound stopped. I told myself it was a raccoon, or maybe a tree branch swaying in the wind. By morning, there were no marks on the walls, and I laughed it off. But as the day went on, I couldn't shake the uneasy feeling that we weren't alone. The forest seemed quieter than before, like the birds and insects had fled. Even Jacob, usually a loudmouth, seemed unusually tense. "Hey," I said while we were stacking firewood. "Did you hear anything weird last night?" He froze, the logs slipping from his hands. "What kind of weird?" he asked, his voice suddenly sharp. "Like scratching on the walls," I said carefully. Jacob swallowed hard and shook his head. "Probably just a raccoon," he muttered. "Don't worry about it." But the way he wouldn't meet my eyes told me he didn't believe that either. That evening, as the sun bled orange across the treetops, Jacob finally opened up. "There's stories about these woods," he said, staring into the fire. "Old stories. My grandpa used to warn me about things, creatures that can take the shape of animals, or even people." I laughed nervously, thinking he was joking, but he didn't laugh back. "They call them skinwalkers," he continued, his voice barely above a whisper. "If you hear your name out here, no matter what, don't answer. And if you see something that looks human but feels off, run." I wanted to dismiss it as folklore, but the serious look on Jacob's face made my stomach twist. That night, I woke again. This time, it wasn't scratching, it was whispering. Faint, broken words sliding through the darkness just outside the cabin window. "Help me." I froze, my breath catching in my throat. It sounded like a woman, desperate and frightened. "Jacob," I hissed, shaking him awake. He sat up, instantly alert. "You heard it, didn't you?" The whispering came again, clearer now. "Please let me in." Jacob grabbed my arm, his nails digging into my skin. "Don't move," he whispered. "Don't say a word." And then from outside, we heard it. My own voice, calling Jacob's name. Jacob's face went pale as the voice echoed through the darkness. My voice, coming from just beyond the thin wooden walls. "Jacob," it called softly, perfectly mimicking the way I speak. "Come outside. I need your help." Every hair on my body stood on end. I was still sitting right next to him, trembling, and yet, something out there was pretending to be me. "Don't move," Jacob hissed again, barely breathing. The whispering stopped, replaced by a low, guttural sound. It wasn't quite a growl, but it vibrated through the floorboards beneath us. Then came the scratching, slow, deliberate, this time much louder, as if long claws were dragging across the wood. Scratch, scratch, scratch. I wanted to scream, but Jacob clamped his hand over my mouth. "They can hear you," he mouthed silently, eyes wide with terror. The thing circled the cabin. We followed its movement with our ears, our muscles tense and ready to bolt. At one point, the sound stopped directly outside the window. I forced myself to glance over and froze. Two glowing white eyes stared back at me through the glass. They were wrong. Too big. Too bright. They didn't blink. A shadowy shape pressed its face to the window, its head cocking unnaturally to the side like a curious animal. Even in the darkness, I could make out its twisted features. A long snout, leathery skin stretched tight over bones, and a mouth that seemed too human. And then, it smiled. My stomach lurched violently. Jacob shoved me backward, away from the window, just as the thing spoke again. "Jacob," it crooned, my own voice dripping with mockery. "He's lying to you. He's not who you think he is." Jacob's grip on my arm trembled. For a split second, I saw doubt flicker in his eyes. "Don't listen to it," I whispered frantically. "It's trying to mess with you." Before Jacob could respond, the thing slammed into the wall with a sickening thud. The whole cabin shook. Again and again, it threw itself against the wood, snarling and screeching. Dust rained from the ceiling. The front door rattled violently, hinges groaning. "We can't stay here," Jacob gasped, grabbing a hunting rifle from under the bed. "Where are we supposed to go?" I hissed. "It's out there!" He met my gaze, deadly serious. "There's an old ranger station about 2 miles east. If we stick to the creek, we might make it before sunrise." I didn't want to leave the relative safety of the cabin, but staying meant being trapped. With trembling hands, I shoved my feet into my boots. The pounding on the walls suddenly stopped. The silence was deafening. "Why did it stop?" I whispered. Jacob's eyes darted around the room. "It's hunting us." We slipped out the back door, trying to move silently through the trees. The forest was suffocatingly dark, the moon hidden behind thick clouds. Every snap of a twig underfoot felt like a gunshot. As we crept along the creek, a sound floated through the trees, a voice, high and broken. "Help me, please." It was a woman again, this time much closer. Jacob gritted his teeth. "Ignore it, keep moving." But then I heard something that made my blood run cold. The voice changed mid-sentence, warping into Jacob's voice. "Run, man, it's right behind you." I spun around and saw a tall, emaciated figure sprinting through the trees on all fours, its pale skin glistening in the moonlight. Its head was wrong, like a deer skull fused with a human face, its eyes glowing like burning coals. "Run!" Jacob screamed. We tore through the forest, branches whipping our faces. Behind us, the creature's breathing grew louder, ragged and wet. It was fast, too fast. The ranger station's dark silhouette finally came into view through the trees. Relief surged through me, until I heard my own voice again, whispering directly in my ear, "You're not going to make it." I stumbled, heart exploding with terror, as something cold and clawed brushed against the back of my neck. I screamed and lurched forward, barely keeping my balance as Jacob yanked me by the arm. "Don't stop," he shouted, his voice breaking with raw terror. The ranger station was so close now, its silhouette rising like a blackened skeleton against the tree line. But the creature was closer. Behind us came the sound of tearing earth and snapping branches, as if something massive was charging through the forest at impossible speed. The smell hit me next, a stench like rotting meat mixed with wet fur and sulfur. My stomach heaved as bile rose in my throat. "Almost there!" Jacob yelled. The station's door was just ahead, swinging slightly in the wind. Jacob shoved me through first and slammed it shut behind us. He jammed an old wooden chair under the handle, his chest heaving. For a moment, there was silence, thick and suffocating. My pulse roared in my ears as I scanned the dark interior. Dust-covered maps hung on the walls, and broken equipment littered the floor. It reeked of mildew and abandonment. Jacob turned to me, his face pale and drenched in sweat. "We're safe, for now." But even as he said it, something tapped on the window. Tap, tap, tap. We both froze. Slowly, we turned our heads. 2 glowing white eyes peered in through the cracked glass, unblinking. The creature crouched just outside, its long, skeletal limbs folded unnaturally, its mouth stretched into a grotesque grin. Then it spoke. This time it wasn't my voice, it was my mother's. "Sweetheart," it cooed, perfectly mimicking her soothing tone. "Why don't you open the door? Let me in. You're safe now." I staggered backward, shaking my head violently. No, it's not her." The creature tilted its head and giggled, a high, wet, broken sound that made my skin crawl. Without warning, it slammed its entire body against the window. The glass shattered, shards spraying across the room. "Go!" Jacob screamed, firing the rifle. The deafening blast lit up the station, revealing the creature in horrifying detail. Its skin was stretched paper-thin over a frame of jagged bones, patches of matted fur clinging to its torso. Its mouth split open far wider than humanly possible, rows of needle-like teeth gleaming. The shot only seemed to enrage it. With a guttural screech, it lunged halfway through the window. Jacob fired again, the muzzle flash illuminating its hideous, twisting face. "Run!" he shouted, but I didn't run. I froze as the creature turned its gaze on me. Its glowing eyes locked with mine, and in that moment, I heard it inside my head. A chorus of voices, mine, Jacob's, my mother's, all speaking at once. "Stay. Let us wear your skin. We'll make you perfect." My vision blurred. My legs refused to move. It was like drowning in ice water. Jacob roared and tackled me to the floor, breaking the spell. Snap out of it, he screamed. It's trying to get inside your head. The creature shrieked, claws raking the air as Jacob dragged me toward a trapdoor in the floor. Go down, he ordered. There's a storage crawl space. Hide. No, I cried, gripping his arm. We both go. Jacob's face twisted with determination and fear. Just go. Before I could argue, he shoved me through the opening and slammed the hatch shut. I landed hard in the darkness below, dust choking my lungs. Above me, I heard the door splinter as the creature forced its way inside. Jacob fired again and again, his screams mingling with the monster's unholy screeching. Then, silence. My heart pounded so hard I thought it would burst. I lay there in total darkness, trembling, straining to hear anything. Minutes passed, or maybe hours. Finally, I heard footsteps above me, slow, heavy. The hatch creaked open. Hey, Jacob's voice said softly. It's over. You can come out now. Relief flooded me until I noticed something wrong. Jacob never called me hey. He always called me by my name. I stayed perfectly still, not daring to breathe. The voice above repeated, softer this time. Come on, it's safe now. Then it giggled, the same wet, broken giggle I'd heard before. The hatch slammed shut, and from the darkness, the voice whispered directly beside my ear. You can't hide forever.
Subscribe to Horror Story Bar.